Welcome to the Edge of NFT podcast with your hosts, Jeff Kelly, Ethan Janney, and Josh Krieger. We aim to bring you not only the top 1% of what's going on with NFTs today, but what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts and the business side, but also the human element of how NFTs are changing the way we interact with the things that we love. This podcast is for the futurists and dreamers, the disruptors and creators, the fans and connectors, and the makers and doers that are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Where did the idea for PixelBeasts come from? Is that something that's been in your head for a while, or did it just pop in there one day in the shower?
No. To be honest, I think like PixelBeast exists. Like I made the first drawing before the concept existed. I have always been a doodler. So if you look at my notes from class, it has little animals on the side. Right? I don't have the attention span to draw a really huge piece of art. Lots of respect for true artists who do, but I've been doodling my whole life. And I've done a lot of pixel art too. So then when I was looking up CryptoPunks, I got fascinated by this idea of a 24 by 24 canvas and like how little you can do in it. So I thought, you know what, that sounds like fun. Sounds like something I could do before I go to bed, and sat down, opened up Photoshop, thought I'd draw for like 15 minutes. That turned into like a 4-hour session where I ended up drawing like 200 layers. And then the next night I was like, well, I have enough layers. I might as well see if I can write some generative code. And next thing I knew, I had all the working pieces for 10K project.
Beautiful. Just curious, like where do you write the generative code? Does it happen in like a JavaScript application or something like that?
For PixelBeast, I wrote it in Python. There are some really cool projects that are taking the actual kind of transaction address and generating art based on that. Really cool. I'm not doing that. I'm generating all 10,000 ahead of time, and then you're picking one random one when you make, which is also true for other projects.
Right. That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned 10K projects. So this is some lexicon that's becoming more and more common now. All these projects are doing that. Is that how many unique NFTs you'll be generating from the project?
Yeah, I'll be doing 10K. A
That's
lot of it
awesome.
was inspired by CryptoPunks. So, it's the backgrounds are not an attribute. It's 24 by 24 pixels each. It's pretty hard, black, bold lines.
Yeah. So some big inspirations there. What are some of those fun attributes, man? Like, and also one of the things that I think people are becoming more and more aware of are the visible attributes and the invisible attributes. Like, what are the things behind the scenes that are driving rarities and whatnot? What can you share about the attributes?
Yeah, I think, just having followed the space, there's been so many exciting ideas. Loot obviously was a big one that we all saw. And I think that was kind of an inspiration for adding a lot of what I call invisible attributes on the PixelBeasts. But in addition to the visible attributes, which is 41 base beasts and, visible attributes like hats and shirts, I have 6 invisible attribute types. And these I call them invisible attributes because you can't see them in the image, but you can call them with an API and get the data. My favorite by far is that each PixelBeast has a best friend and a nemesis. So that's 5,000 pairs of best friends and 5,000 pairs of nemesis. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it, but I think there's a lot of fun things you can do. We've talked about doing an airdrop of 5,000 pieces, but you have to get there before your nemesis. Or doing some sort of reward if you collaborate with your best friend. So it forces you to go find strangers across the internet to to win stuff.
Love that. Yeah, it really drives the community element of it in ways that, yeah, like you said, it's undefined. Like, who knows? You can do all kinds of fun things.
We have the 6 basic kind of Dungeons and Dragons stats, strength, speed, whatnot, which are all three 6-sided dice rolls. They have a class, mage, thief, warrior. They have an element, fire, water, air, earth. A habitat, which is based on Magic the Gathering cards, island, plain, mountain, forest, swamp. And then they have 1 dice roll each of a D4, D6, D10, D12, and D20. And again, I kind of put these in without knowing what I was going to do with it, but part of it was I just wanted to pack it with attributes so that we could build cross-NFT utility later. If somebody's building a game where all you need is 1 of 4 elements, they could, in theory, just swap out the address and let PixelBeast play that game as well.
Yeah, man. You know what it reminds me, and I think we've talked about this once before, of like character development in screenwriting, where you develop an entire backstory, right, to this character. And you only see this character in front of you doing the things within that, half hour that you're seeing them on a show, or a couple hours in a movie, right? But there's an entire history usually written about them, and that fills them with reality, basically, right?
Mhm.
This reminds me of that, right? When you're talking about these things, the hidden attributes and whatnot, and just how deep you could really go with that if you wanted to. You could look at core values, right? I know Gary V's
Mhm.
NFTs, a lot of them are rooted in these individual values. But what about the entire set of core values that drive a particular, character,
Mhm.
if you will? Is it empathy and grit, or other, I don't know. There's
It's
something
funny.
really
It's funny
fun
you
in there.
brought that up, because I did find a huge list of personality traits for non-playable characters, and I did consider putting in personalities into the Pixel Beast. But
Yeah.
upon thinking through the process of purchasing one, and I wanted people to kind of feel ownership of it, I just kind of felt
Hmm.
like I wanted people to add their own personality to it. So I decided against the personality traits as an attribute.
Right on. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's sort of go into the roadmap a little bit. Give us a sneak peek at some of the benefits and utility that you're conjuring up for owning one of these Pixel Beasts, or maybe not owning one, but 20.
So I'll start by saying, let's not call it a roadmap, right? Because I've been very clear. I don't want to come up with a roadmap. I think I would much rather under promise and over deliver. So all my communication says there's no roadmap. It's just me. It's not a team. I'm building. Thus far I've built all the utility myself. I'm running a fund, and I'm doing this. This is my side project. This is how I learn, and I'm bringing people alongside me. That being said, we will have a couple utility pieces day one. I know in the intro, the Tango project was mentioned. These were just kind of hacky prototypes, but for people who don't know, TangoNFT is a private chat room for every NFT collection that requires no setup by the collection owner. So if you log in with MetaMask, whatever NFTs you own, the collections those are in are the rooms you have access to. So if
That's
I
great.
have a more loot NFT, the moment I go in, it sees that I have that. Gives me access to more loot room. If I go in, I type a chat, only people with more loot can see it. So on with the Robotos, Lazy Lines, CryptoPunks, whatever you want to call it. And that was a quick hack that probably took me 2 nights to do. I pushed it out, open sourced it, and we got a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, I want to help build this, or I'm building a different version of this. So going back to utilities, one of the big utilities for PixelBeast is going to be experimenting with various token-gated tools. This is a way for me as a VC to learn about these tools and experiments, and essentially everybody who has a PixelBeast is along the ride with me. So we have a couple of startups we're talking to that I'm excited to announce shortly on the token-gated tools, about being kind of the first to test them out. We have our own token-gated tool called Beastopia. This is different from Tango in that this is just for PixelBeast holders. And then I think last night or 2 nights ago, I actually built Tango into Beastopia. And I know this gets kind of confusing, but what that means is within Beastopia, each collection has its own room. So if you find the CryptoPunks room within Beastopia, you actually have to have a PixelBeast and the CryptoPunks to go in. And the whole idea came up because somebody in the PixelBeast Discord was wondering who else in the group had friends with benefits. And this whole started a whole conversation of, wouldn't it be nice to find other holders of the NFT collections you're in when you're in a certain community. So the Tango within Beastopia is a feature to help people find other community members that you're in the community with alongside others.